You are along for the ride with the Mad Dog and Cole. I've got soul. Farrell.
It's only partying if you're doing it with other people.
Sing it, preach.
I decided to fly through the air and live in the sunlight and enjoy life as much as I could, and that's just what I'm doing.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm. Wait.
All right, man. I am so glad to be here. Happy belated Thanksgiving, my friend.
Happy belated Thanksgiving.
Yeah, thank you. Want to give a shout out to our man Evil Knievel and his wise words of wisdom, just flying motorcycles through the air and living in the sun.
Always inspiring to hear those words after a holiday meal, you know?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Uh, let's start this off right with a big thank you to our partners, Kicker Performance Audio, for all your 12-volt audio needs or personal audio needs, whether it's your boat, your truck, your car, your side-by-side, your golf cart, whatever you need. They got you covered. Check them out at kicker.com. Kicker.com, Kicker Performance Audio. And of course, Bomber Eyewear at bombereyewear.com. Bomber Floating Eyewear, the last pair of sunglasses you'll need, even if you live on a lake, because when you forget to take them off and jump in, guess what?
They're still there. They're
They're
floating
floating. Yes,
because they're
sir.
bomber floating eyewear.
Yes, indeed. This particular pair that I'm wearing has a ANSI approved, OSHA approved safety lens that is also polarized, which is super handy for those days, whether you're out in the dirt or out on the lake. Just cuts the glare, gives you that little extra visibility. Super comfortable. Bombereyewear.com. Give them a check out. So, of course, the Premix Podcast at the Premix Podcast on Instagram for all your desert racing photo, video needs, and some stuff you might not even need that you look at and go, hey, that's cool. Be sure and check out, give a like and a follow to at the Premix Podcast on Instagram.
Much appreciated. Those numbers are through the roof, so
Nice.
keep it
Nicely
coming.
done. Nicely done. Man, we have capped some great episodes. I think we're up, what are we now? Episode 15, this one.
I believe so. I believe this is our quinceanera episode.
Yeah. Wow, that was a big word, dude. I'm impressed.
And not even English.
Yeah, holy cow. I think that's Canes in French, but I'm not sure. Some hater will correct me, I'm sure.
That's fine. That means people are listening, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we want you to listen. Please listen. Please, please. I don't mean to beg, but please listen. Please enjoy. Please laugh.
We're not even going to do the like, subscribe, comment.
Nope.
Just listen.
Just listen. That's all we want. Just listen.
Volume doesn't have to be on. Just listen.
And have fun.
And have fun. That's actually more important.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, we've been working on some cool stuff behind the scenes. Kelsey Morrell Film, that is one of my daughters who is a film production student, almost done now, that has a great grasp on this stuff, has been remastering all our videos from these, and it won't be long, and we will have those up on a YouTube channel. So that's it's really cool to see, knowing where we're at now, to see the progression from episode one. Even I think I've completely stopped waving, so there's that. But it's really cool. It's really proud for me to see her handiwork, because she's just slaying it, dude. I mean, it's just cool. I'm sure you've been through a little bit of it.
It's just so cool to see what she's doing with our little side project here. And to be fully honest, I'm not the best producer in the world, so the content that I give her to work with might not be the best, and she's making gold out of it. So props in the world. That's the Morel way, is to figure it out.
Yeah, it's persevere, right? We persevere. My granddaddy, Grandpa Ray, told me years and years ago that Morels persevered.
That's pretty
And
cool.
yeah, and you ask any of my kids and they grew up with that. So that's just one of the things, like, it's what we do,
Yeah,
right? So, and man, speaking of things we do, we had a great opportunity. Uh, Actually got back on an airplane last week. Planes, trains, and automobiles. We spent Thanksgiving with our family up in Bend, Oregon, where it was freezing ass cold. Dude, so cold, like 20 at night.
I was gonna say, did you even remember what cold felt like?
I didn't. I didn't. And it was vicious and brutal, and I don't like it anymore.
So it makes you grateful for Havasu coming home.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I wore long pants every day.
Whoa, I don't even know if I know what you look like in pants.
Right? I know. Yeah, it's crazy. And of course, right before that, we wrapped up I think it was the 11th annual Sand and Water Expo, Lake
That's right.
Havasu.
Yep.
Um, Mother Nature was not kind to us on Saturday. Friday, it was cold. We woke up to a brisk 43.
Ooh, a desert cold.
Yeah, definitely a crisp, just right there on the lake shores, right at Windsor. And we had a great setup. I was working with Kicker, and we had partnered with Rod from Gator Wraps on the booth, and the booth just looked killer. We had a fantastic setup. Um, Event opened at 11 and we started getting some traffic. We actually had pretty decent traffic considering it was a Friday,
Mm-hmm.
and it was cold. Um, and we had a lot of fun. Rod had some really cool stuff. He had a sand dragster in there that he had wrapped. I got to visit with them a little bit. It's pretty crazy, man. A full blown alcohol V8 sand drag that ran I think he said his best time was 278 in the 300.
That's so
Um,
crazy.
Insane, insane, dude, insane. So, and then we just had a lot of cool stuff. We had the Elite Audio Kicker boat, um, which is just over the top. We've covered it a couple times, and man, that boat is insane. Uh, I had Captain America, the grinder, the old Dodge Dually in the booth, had it all cleaned up thanks to my good buddy over Detail Davy at Top Notch there in Havasu. Got me a quick exterior right before the event started. Um, Man, we had Elite's Tesla that they have all wrapped and audioed out. They had a little um, mini pickle fork, a mini boat that was actually a pickle fork that they've put audio in.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like a 14-foot, maybe smaller, real flat pickle fork boat with a nine. I think it was a 75 or 90 horse outboard on it.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely want to get an opportunity to take that for a rip. Um, so yeah, there was just, of course, the Kicker Razor. We had a couple other razors, Can-Am X3, of course, Gator Wraps, big crew cab, international crew cab, pickup bed, tilt bed. That always is just a huge presence, and it's wrapped in green chrome.
Yeah, you can't miss it.
You
I can
cannot.
actually probably see it from my house right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I could see it across the lake. Um, so yeah, no, it was a good time, and unfortunately, Friday afternoon, we're trucking away. We're having a good time, hanging out with people, talking to people, and just living loud by Kicker, and really sharing the stoke and sharing the love. And my phone goes beep beep, and I look, and it's a weather advisory for our region, um, and a high wind advisory for that night and Saturday. So erring on the side of caution, I pulled the fabric off the 10 by 20 for the night, Friday night when we packed down.
Good call.
Yeah, it turned out to be a great call because Saturday morning we had roughly 30-mile-an-hour north winds coming straight down the gorge with gusts of 45. Um, and we just did not get a break all day.
Really? Oh, was that was on Saturday that it was just ripping?
Saturday, it was just ripping. It was cold. The wind was absolutely brutal. It's, of course, filling every gap in your teeth with sand. I'm pretty sure I'm still making pearls. Um, dude, it was just gnarly.
Sand, water, and wind show.
Yes, yeah, for sure. So, but we made the best of it. We hung out. We talked to as many people as we could get to come by. We ended up packing up a little early, which is not my style at all. But there just wasn't much for traffic. People were over the wind by the afternoon, late afternoon, and so it was best just stick a fork in it while everybody was safe and able to warm up at least still.
Yeah,
And
live to fight another day, huh?
yep, exactly, exactly. So got everything packed up and loaded up, and went in Sunday morning and finished packing up, and and got home and just carried on. And Monday, the Viking had a friend here for the weekend, um, which they had a great time. Her friend was flying back home to Central Oregon late Monday. So we had booked our flights for late Monday also. But due to the absolutely ridiculous pricing to fly into Bend, Redmond, we decided to fly Monday to Boise and road trip with my daughter and her boyfriend from Boise to Bend.
That's cool. So yeah, talk about, like you said, planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yep, yep, absolutely. So we made the haul up to Vegas Airport. Got out pretty close to on time, got into Boise on time, and the kids picked us up, and they brought little Ivy, my grandpuppy, with them, and she was more than happy to see her Papa Wheelie. Um, and we had all packed pretty light because the automobile of choice for this road trip was a 2000, I think 2015 Kia Soul.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
I was going to ask what the weapon of choice was. That
Yes.
is not what I was expecting.
No. No, we almost took the silver bullet because Jeff has bought the silver bullet from me. But we decided to go with the Kia. Everything fit. It was tight. Thankfully, good old dad is a Tetris master. Um, and that car doesn't, weirdest thing. So it doesn't come with a spare,
Yeah, that's a new thing.
but it does come with a spare well.
Yeah, you have to buy it as an option.
Yeah.
And we
So
found out the hard way on my wife's car because she got a flat and they said that they don't do it so they can get the miles per gallon rating.
that wouldn't surprise me. So, that being said, there's lots of storage in a spare tire well.
Whether
And
you're carrying legal stuff or not.
yeah, yeah. And on the trip back, it made for a great cooler
Oh, that's rad.
because we had a lot of leftover fest stuff from the festivities at Thanksgiving. So, dude, just put it all in the spare tire well. By the time we got back to Boise, it was still ice cold. So
That's pretty genius. Well done.
yeah, it worked out pretty well. And um, road tripping across part of Idaho and Eastern Oregon, uh, in a Kia Soul. I'm if it wasn't for the company, I wouldn't have done it,
Yeah, fair enough.
or it wouldn't have been fun. But at least it was fun. And um, man, we got over there, rented this house, for the entire family, and it was great. It was kind of like our MAddOG'S holiday bash, because we did have the family there. But as you know, Kirsten does uh, manages a website for us. Kelsey's working on the video stuff for us, so we were able to. It was cool too because we were able to sit down and actually have some meetings and lay some direction out as to where we want to go and how we want to get there. And use the hugely intelligent minds of my daughters who are experienced in a lot of this stuff, to actually advise me on what the best way to get to where we're going is.
Yeah,
So
you got some good people in your corner.
yeah, absolutely. It was, and of course, it was great to hang out with the grandkids. And dude, we just had such a good time. And of course, I mean, this should be definitely the leader on the title for episode 15, Pie Night.
Pie night. Yep. I was jealous seeing those Snapchats.
Yeah, I could see that look in your face, like, when are you gonna get to Pie Night?
It's like
Um,
I'm looking forward to it for you.
yeah, so for those of you who do not know, my mom started a tradition about 20 years ago, um, at Thanksgiving, because as kids grew and kids got married and had commitments with in-laws and et cetera like that, it was harder and harder to get the whole family together for Thanksgiving dinner. So my mom invented Pie Night. And what Pie Night is the night before Thanksgiving, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, the entire family, their friends, in-laws, whatever, all get together and bring desserts. And you just hang out for 2 or 3 hours and eat dessert. Because, as you know, you're often so stuffed after Thanksgiving, literally, that it's miserable to try and choke down 2 or 3 pieces of pie.
And then you got leftovers for days of sugary pie.
Yeah. Yeah. So we just all get together the day before and have, in essence, dessert for dinner, which is, for me, yeah, that's what it's about.
What happened to you can't have your pudding until you eat your meat?
Does not apply.
That's the Morel way.
Yeah. It's America.
This is America. We eat pie on Wednesdays. Yeah, it looked like you had quite the array of options there. I mean, it looked like obviously everybody's into it. So,
Yeah. And it's really cool. Even the young teenage, you know, great nephews and great nieces are now starting. They're so into it that they're making stuff themselves, that they want to bring to Pie Night. And it was really cool. I think we had just over 40 family members and
wow.
extended family, but mostly family. Um, we had, I think the count was 20 pies and
20,
cakes.
20 pies for 40 people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then this year, my niece organized everything. We had it at her place. And so this year, she added the addition. Usually we get together a little later, but they were like, let's get together a little earlier and bring some finger foods also. So we had appetizers and dessert.
Interesting. Did it work? Or are
It
we
was
going to go?
awesome.
Okay, I was going to say, are we going to go back to the OG way next year.
No, I think we should keep it this way. I'm a fan of finger foods, anyways. I'm a fan of appetizers and the holiday creativity that,
Bread, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, you know, we had everything from, uh, I think salmon that my brother had caught and smoked,
Oh wow,
like
nice.
candy smoked and put on like, you know, little chunks on crackers with a little spot of like dill cream cheese or whatever.
Sounds so good right now.
Yeah, right. I know. I'm making myself hungry. We had everything from that to little smokies, um, done in the crock pot for like 10 hours with barbecue sauce, and another one with somebody, I did the barbecue sauce ones. Someone else did the teriyaki. Um, and it was just killer good time and hanging out with my folks, and just feeling um really, really blessed, for the fortunes of the year and the fortune of being able to spend that kind of time with so much family. Watch the little kids play together, my grandkids playing with my brother's grandkids who, you know 20, 25 years ago, it was our kids that were playing together and, locking each other in closets. And so, it's really rad to see that. Super cool. And, we got on to, I'll tell you, if you want a test of your abilities, especially after you haven't cooked a big meal, a big fancy meal in a year, like since Christmas last year. Um, do a 16-pound turkey with all the trimmings in a rented house.
Yeah, that sounds very cooking TV show esque
Yes.
challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. And then adding things. My oldest daughter, uh, the bug, we call her, um, is a highly, highly, highly accomplished um, dessert chef. And I would say, although she's very modest, I would say she's an accomplished chef also. But she just wants to go with dessert chef. Uh, but working with her in the kitchen, I've worked with her in the kitchen since she was probably 4 or 5 years old. So,
I was
um,
going to say the listeners
and
might
then
not
what?
know, and you're going to be humble about it, but between one of
Uh,
us, there is another chef on this show.
yeah, you're correct. That was a whole nother life. But yes, yes, that was actually one of my um, first chosen careers, I guess, where I was actually educated to become something, instead of just hopping on a motorcycle and going for it. Um, and thankfully doing something good once in a while. Um, I did a lot of good for a lot of years, and just kind of outgrew it, I think. Some people stay with it and continue with it and do extremely well. And, I think looking back, if we had um, the avenue of social media back then, um, one half the shit I said, I probably wouldn't have said, but the other half is, I think those days would have been a successful TV series.
Yeah, no, I can believe it. Yeah.
So it was good times. But yeah, so all my daughters can cook. All my daughters are very talented in the kitchen. Um, so it was, just exceptionally cool to work with them. And as it was like you've seen the madness on some of these TV chef shows and restaurant shows the madness as they're getting ready to go to plate, if you will,
Yep.
you know, and it was no different in the kitchen of that poor rental house. Um, I had myself, two of my daughters, my son-in-law, who is um, quite skilled sommelier and was helping
Really?
in the kitchen. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
He's also a professional structural engineer specializing in seismic activity protection, I
Dude,
believe.
this has got to be the most wild Thanksgiving ever. You got 25 chefs, 300 pies, a key of
uh,
soul. Yeah.
yeah, it was crazy. We had a great time, and Kirsten, my daughter that we road tripped with, um, loves to do, and I can't say it. Sure. How do you say?
Charcuterie,
Thank you.
charcuterie,
Char charcuterie.
crackers and meats.
Yes. Um, but she is incredibly skilled and just does a beautiful presentation. So we had a nice healthy breakfast that morning that I cooked for everybody. And of course, mom and the girls, had their mimosa and their mid-morning naps. Um, and we got to the charcuterie that Kirsten made with the help of Kelsey. Um, just absolutely gorgeous. Now, did it stop me from digging in? No. Um, but it was just, it was really good. And then onward and upward, into dinner, we did a 16-pound turkey and 5.5-pound ham.
Very nice.
Because one of my kids does not like, one of my daughters does not like, is not a fan of turkey.
It's nice to have variety, I guess.
Yeah, so why not do a little bone-in ham with a little, bourbon red pepper, uh, brown sugar glaze?
Dude, we're gonna have to stop this episode. It's almost dinner time, and you keep talking like this.
So and we all sat down. They got the table ready. We all sat down, and it was just a real blessing to be able to express our thankfulness all the way around the table. Um, Unfortunately, the youngest triplet that has the Nugget, my granddaughter, the Nugget, and my grandson, Jaxie Boy, little man, um, was already committed to have Thanksgiving dinner with her in laws. So we missed that. But we had a great evening, had a great time. And then, the next morning, uh, it was Nugget's birthday was Monday. And so we celebrated big time Friday morning. They came
Nice.
over. We made chocolate chip pancakes. We had bacon. We had eggs. We had sausage. Um, we had ham. Um, what else did we have? Good Lord, we just had everything. Just this big huge breakfast, and then broke out the cheesecakes and the pie and birthday presents, and it was just so great to have even more family there and spend, 2/3 of the day just hanging out and eating and letting all the kids run wild, and man, yeah, it was fantastic. It was really cool. We got to go over Saturday and have coffee with my parents. And it was great because we had Kirsten and Jeff with us. Um, and we got talking, and my dad got into story mode, which, I mean, if you followed this podcast, my mom had some health issues, had a little mini stroke. She's doing great. As a matter of fact, on Pie Night Day, she baked 4 pies.
Wow. She's hustling.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, holy cow, it's just like, wow, that is one tough old bird.
What a
I mean,
comeback.
yeah. Yeah. You want to talk about the comeback story, man. That's it. Um, so yeah, we had my dad started talking about gnome stories because we were talking about groceries, and then they got talking about um, how they had to order groceries twice a year to come in on the ship. Um,
Nome, Alaska, correct?
yes, Nome,
Yep.
Alaska. That's where I was born. That's where I'm from. Shout out, Nomites.
I've been there.
Yeah, have you really?
Yeah.
I
They didn't
did
have a
not know that.
statue of you, but I've been there.
Oh, I did not know that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was born 6 blocks off the Bering Sea.
I know. Okay. I probably
So
walked by your house.
yeah, I'll bet you did. Um, so yeah, now and that turned into some old stories. One of the funny things that it turned into was a story about one of the guys that was my dad's that was good friends with my dad that was in the church up there, Eskimo gentleman, and he worked. There was a narrow gauge railway that ran out of Nome to a village, and it was decommissioned. And this guy and his sons worked to tear it all up because someone had bought the railroad and was moving it to, any guesses? I will bet you've ridden this railroad.
The one that runs through Denali National Park.
Negative. Think
Uh,
way further south,
like by my house, like the coastliner.
like the railroad on Catalina.
Oh no, I've never been. Never been to
Ah,
Catalina.
okay.
No.
Yeah. So, anyways, that I believe it still exists, but my dad would go out there and help him um, once in a while, and they tore up this entire railroad and loaded on a ship and shipped it to Catalina Island.
How crazy.
So, which turned into my dad and my mom telling us about their first trip to Catalina in 1950,
Yep.
and they were going to take a boat, and the ocean was too rough, so they flew. They were with their best friends. Um, so it's just really funny. I had no idea, you know, and of course that turned into I got 8 minutes of voice recording that I am going to have Kelsey master for us. Um, and at some point, we're going to play some of that 8 minutes of my dad talking about his first car, um, and his second car, and his third car, and some of his adventures. And it was just really cool to be able to hear some of that, but even more so to know that that was being shared with my kids,
Yeah.
right? So the story doesn't end with me, and hopefully, um, we're going to get my pop on here um, at some point. I'm going to have to probably have my oldest sister sit down and set up the Zoom on his Surface. No, he's got a, I don't know what it is. Anyway,
But one of those things.
oh, what's the Google thing? A
Oh, I
Google,
don't know.
it's a Google laptop, anyways. Um, so yeah, but dude, yeah, and then it was like next thing you know, it's time to pack up and head back, and um, we had I got to tell you, so the Kia Soul, we're rolling across, and I know you have been in some of that area, but you come out of Boise, basically you're on like interstate 80 miles an hour. We're cruising along getting like 26 miles to the gallon,
Hmm.
loaded to the hilt at 90 miles an hour on cruise. I don't get it, but anyway, and then you kind of go off through the country, um, and through this area called Ontario and Vale, which is basically like onion country.
Okay.
That's like serious onion country. They're proud of their onions. They got onions painted on sides of barns out there. Um, so yeah, and then you kind of go up through the mountains a little bit, and it's really cool because it's still, even though you're on a highway, you go along this river, and then you kind of go up through the mountains and back along the river, and then up through the. But it's really easy to get a vision for what the um, early settlers went through, you know, going wagon train and horses up through there and stuff like that. It was really, really a vision into the west of the Pacific Northwest, you know?
The Oregon Trail, like the real deal. And
Yep, the real
yeah.
deal, man. So, but anyways, as uh, we got away late because kids had to work. And so, as the last stretch is about 120 miles and it's almost straight the whole way. Um, and it's kind of rolly. Um, and it's boring. It is just boring. Well, when you're doing it in the dark, it's really boring. Um, but it was funny because we're driving along, we're about an hour from Bend still, and yet another oncoming vehicle flashes its high beams at us. And I was riding shotgun up front, and Viking and her daughter were in the back, and me and the Jeff were up front, and Hefe's like, I don't understand. I'm on low beam, and I'm like, oh, that's really weird. I'm like, ah, I bet this poor suspension is so sagged out. Four suitcases, four people. And so, yeah, that's what it was.
That
It
you
was
made a
so,
pre-runner out of it?
yeah, we made a pre-runner. We had the full pre-runner sag going on.
See, it's such a funny thing because it can only be three things. There's an accident coming, your high beams are on, or Johnny Law's sitting there. And
Right.
personally, I don't like when they flash the beams at me for the cop. I'm like, don't scare me like that, you know?
Right. Right. Yeah, that's where you turn them on and off.
Yep.
On
Yep.
and off, that's the code. Flashing high beams is either your high beams are in their face or there's a situation, right? So, but anyways, yeah, it was quite the road trip anyways. So then it was like, oh, let's see if this one gets us. Oh, let's see if this one gets us, you know? So it kind of helped the last hour go away on a long
It
day.
became a family game.
Yeah. So that was really cool. Of course, coming back, we didn't have to worry about that. We rolled all the way back in the daylight. That'll I've got to say, not a lot of room in that car, but we
Nope.
made it. But it just, I mean, he had the squirrel screaming a few times, making some passes, and it just kept digging. It kept going. I was pretty impressed. So,
Do
uh,
those cars, do they have a CVT in them?
no, this one actually has a real
Thank
transmission.
goodness. Okay. That can make a road
Yeah,
trip
yeah.
even longer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it'd drive you crazy. It's
Jump
like,
out.
yeah, right. But anyways, yeah, we got back, and we got back Sunday evening. Um, Monday morning, we are on a flight home. Um, and with a quick stopover in somewhere, we flew to somewhere, San Jose.
Oh, okay.
Had a little quick stopover where the Viking and I grabbed some lunch and hopped on the next flight to Vegas and got back and made the rip through the desert as fast as I could, heading down desert to the river rush. Yeah, man, it was a great trip, and it was good to fly. It was great to fly and not wear those stupid masks
Yeah.
because
It's
I haven't flown since middle of February this year.
yeah, St. I was March. Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was supreme. Everybody seemed in a little better mood on flight crews and stuff like that. Um, we flew Southwest, which was cool. The last flight crew, um, they were on their last leg of the day, and they didn't seem into it at all. I was pretty disappointed. I was hoping I'd get a survey so I could, you know, tell them. Um, but yeah, they just didn't even seem too enthused. The rest of the flight crews were superb, though.
Yeah, that's like Southwest thing is to be like, we love you. When you're here, your family.
Yeah,
Everybody put on a smile.
yep,
So that's kind of
absolutely.
disappointing, but oh,
Is
hopefully
what
the
it
next round
is.
is good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, and then yeah, it's just been it's time of year to start working on cleaning up the office. And now today, although this won't be live today we're recording on December 1st. So I would imagine Viking will start bothering me. I have a rule that no Christmas decorations go up before December 1st. Um, so I already heard a casual mention, although I pretended like I wasn't listening today about the Christmas tree. So
Ooh.
I'm guessing that's coming. We have to get that stuff prepped. And I'm like, we have a 7-foot lighted palm, like the Corona palm tree,
Yeah, that's rad. Do that.
Yeah. Why do we need a Christmas tree, So,
I say just go
uh,
grab a sage bush from outside and throw that in the house.
right. Well, we have a fake because I don't like cleaning up. So it's like, yeah, we'll get that done sometime here in probably the next few days. And other than that, just meetings. Um, had a little electrical issue on the kicker razor I had to fix. Uh, so that was yesterday afternoon. I spent yesterday afternoon fixing some wiring uh, where a switch got tired of being on, got tired of working, conducting electricity. So um, it caused a little bit of issue. No blown fuses, no melted wires, just some crispy wires, some hard wires. Uh, so I went through and fixed it all. And I really do not like doing electrical. Um, I do it because I can, and it needed done,
Yeah,
but I just don't like doing it. It's
I don't
like,
either. I feel like things can get out of hand fast.
yeah, you really have to. For me, it's like I really have to commit mentally to pay attention.
Right.
And
Lots of pictures, lots of masking to mark what wire goes where.
yep, yep. You saw that picture.
Uh-huh. I hate routing new wire, like poking holes in the dashboard. Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I didn't have to cut any new holes, but I had an entirely new power feed and daisy chain for the lights on the switch. Um, and so the daisy chain was a little bit short for my liking. I like when you pull the switch, I want to get it all the way out of the dash to unhook it.
yeah.
Um, and you weren't really able to do that. So I reworked all that, and it ate up a good afternoon, but it was a beautiful sunny afternoon, and I was working in the carport with the sun shining on my back and my t-shirt and shorts. So I've done electrical in a lot worse situations. Let's just say.
So I have to tell you a funny story about that. My first car was a 66 Baja Bug.
Yes.
And so I don't remember why we were digging into it, but I think the fuel gauge didn't work or something on the minimalist dash of those bugs. And it had a fiberglass front end, so with Zeus fitting. So I pulled the fiberglass off, and my dad's looking at this rat's nest of a wire that the previous owner just hacked this thing to death. And the cars probably came with a hell of a rat's nest anyway. And he looks at it, and he's a Volvo master technician. He looks at it and he goes, "You know what? The other 99% of it works. I'm not even going to screw with this thing." We put the fiberglass back on, and that's how we wired that car. And I don't blame him. At first, I was a little sad, but then the more I do wiring on cars, I'm like, yeah, we could have made a lot bigger mess than what we started with.
Yeah, it's one of those where it almost would have been better just to take everything out and start from
Start
scratch.
brand new, but I had to go to work, so that
Yeah,
wasn't going to
yeah.
happen.
That's that's something we used to do. And that was probably one of I mean, I would literally rather check big end gap building a motor, which wasn't my favorite, but I would rather check big end gap and main bearing gaps than build wiring harnesses.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But in 11 years, we built 15 cars and I built 14 wiring harnesses. Um, I think I could still build a wiring harness for a street stock or a super stock um, in my sleep.
Yeah, that's all simple in hindsight.
Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah,
really is. It really is. And the I never messed with any of the wiring like on the race bikes or anything like that. I never had to, that wasn't in my wheelhouse really,
no, and it's talk about even simpler. It's not. I mean, if you have an electrical failure, that's pretty rare on that stuff. So
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, um there but yeah, I used to just lay it all out and tie one end in a knot and okay, I know I want this color here. This is lights for oil pressure gauge and fuel gauge or tachometer. Of course, we didn't run a fuel gauge. I think on on the super stock that we toured with, I think we ran as well temperature, oil pressure, water pressure, uh, oil temperature, engine oil temp, and tack. And I think
keep it
that's
simple. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And on like the sportsman street stock, man, on the hobby stock, I ran an oil pressure light.
Yep. A dummy light.
Um,
Yep.
yep, and a tack
And away she goes.
and a temperature gauge.
Oh, you did? Oh,
Yeah,
fancy.
mechanical though.
Ah,
Mechanical
right.
temperature
Yep.
gauge. Yeah, on the upper level, I mean those were 500 the bomber stock, the claimer cars were $500 claimer cars, you didn't want to put a lot of time into
No.
them. Street stock and sportsman, you know, um, depending on the driver, like when I built the Monte Carlo SS for El Toro Loco, um, on that car, you've seen pictures of that, the purple car.
Yep.
Um, on that car, I actually ran a tack light, a shift light, and I ran an low oil pressure light, and I ran a temperature warning light because I could never get some bitch to look at the gauges.
Oh, so you had to make it as stupid as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
had to have
So
your green, yellow, and red light on the dash to,
yep. Yeah.
yeah.
Literally there was just three red lights.
Oh
And
yeah,
I
okay. Yep.
and I wrote on the dash underneath them what they were, you know, because I had to have a telltale tack. How many RPMs you turn? I'm not sure. I think about 6,500. I'm like, well, I don't think you're turning 6,500. No, no, yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm like, did you look? Well, no, not directly.
But I felt it.
I'm like, you
Dude,
know,
that's so weird to have a driver that doesn't. I mean, everybody's got their own style, but if anything, guys get too fixated on the gauges, right?
Right. Yeah, that was me. Like, okay, where's the tack? Where's the oil pressure, And having to that's I think coming from bikes where you didn't have anything, you had some little lights and a tack, and that was it, you know. Um to where all these gauges, it's like, ooh, I have all this stuff to look at.
Information. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so, um, but yeah, on that car, I believe I mounted the gauges in the center of the car, um, because I was the only one that used them
Oh, yeah. Okay.
as the crew chief. So yeah, it's like good times for sure. So, but building wiring harnesses on that stuff, it just became so easy. And now, growing up working with my pop in the shop and stuff and on all the classic Volvos, especially um like the Jensen Volvo P1800s that we worked on, those all had Lucas wiring.
I have no clue what that is.
It's English,
Okay.
like what Jaguars use
Okay.
or used to use, and you know how bad old Jags were. Um, these were not any better. They were horrible, and trying to trace them down and like learning to read. I took electronics class in school so that I could read the schematics,
Yep.
and just hours and hours. And you come to find out your gauges aren't working because one of the backlight bulbs is out.
after after going through everything,
Yeah.
it's a mechanical issue.
Yes. Yeah. And it's like, man, okay, lesson learned, you
Yeah.
know? So, yeah. But, man, so yeah, we're just, dude, we are getting close to wrapping up for the year. Um, Sam Water Expo was my last job this year for Team Kicker, and I'm so grateful to have done so many jobs and seen so many different things and so much activity with them. I'm just really grateful for the Kicker team, Jeremy, Roger, Ron, Sandy, all those guys that just support me, um, and now support us. Um, so grateful for them, I got one more stab this year. Wednesday, um, I will be heading back to Mother G.
Are you? Oh, it's oh, that's right. Red Bull Sand Scramble.
Yes, indeed.
All
Red Bull
right.
Sand Scramble. I am blessed to have gotten the call again this year. Last year, I was able to be the head of security, and I also did some base camp logistics, production logistics type stuff, and some vehicle fleet management. Uh, and I was blessed to get the call to go back again this year. And I'm being told that my job duties will be very similar. So, super excited. Last year was the inaugural first ever Red Bull Sand Scramble. And it was crazy fun, good, gnarly. Um, and to top it all off, the cherry on the cake, the cherry on the uh, Sunday, if you will. Um, my boy Mitch Guthrie Jr. pulled out the big W, which was super rad because I got spent a lot of time hanging out with him and my boy Seth. A couple of like these guys. You know, I don't know if you saw my birthday post for Mitchy the other day on
Oh yeah, yeah.
Facebook. Did you see the poor little skinny white boys, him and Ronnie Anderson, and
And now they're men, you know.
yeah, yeah, and not just men, they're racing in Dakar and they're I think they're all every bit as tall as me and as super rad just to see those guys grow and then see them do so well, um, and be involved in an event that they're with a company that takes such good care of them, because I still consider them my boys, you know?
Oh, absolutely. It's funny you say that because even before tonight's episode started, I was watching the Baja 1000 recap on Fishgistics YouTube, and he does an amazing job getting all the drivers together in each individual class. And he had all the UTV kids. I should say kids, they're probably only a few years younger than me. All the UTV guys, and it's like Seth, Mitch, it was RJ Anderson, and it's like these are all of Lauren's like like these are your kids, you know? Like I had to
Yeah.
laugh. I'm like, this is like a reunion of everybody that came through the program you're a part of, and I had to laugh about that.
It's
And like you said, now they're Dakar legends already at the age of whatever.
21.
Yeah.
Yeah. 11 stage wins.
And one penalty to end it all.
Yeah. And
Jeez.
one DNF and 11 stage wins. Um, Still doesn't stop the fact that he won 11 stage wins.
No, it's as he was
And
the
nobody's
youngest
done it
and like the most at his age, and it was like
the
six
most.
records at once he broke. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just, and you think, I mean, I look at some of the old pictures, like from the 2015, 2014 or 15 UTV World. I think it was 14, might even been 13 UTV World Championships, you know, and Seth Quintero at the ripe old age of, I think, 10, won the 170 class. That was my first UTV World Championship win as a sponsor. I was with Muzzies then, and that was my first win of the day, which ended up that World Championship will be forever in my heart, because I think of the big classes, I think we ended up with 9 racers in the 12 podium spots of the 4 big classes.
That's insane.
And I believe we won every class. Seth won, Brandon Sims won, Jacob Shaw won, and you look back at that and it's like, and Jim Barry, I believe, won the 850 class in his Terex, his Muzzy Terex, and Danny Rosenzweig finished third. I can't remember who came in second in his Muzzy's John Deere Gator.
How crazy to think back in those times.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So, at very special times, and man, what you were saying about those guys, and your thoughts, like, is very kind. It's very kind. It's very touching. Um, yeah, man, I'm about to get a little emotional, I think. I'm very, very, very blessed to have been able to work with such incredible talent, um, and such great people, and maintain them as friends,
Yeah.
and see them grow and prosper, and it's like Anderson brothers, RJ, Ronnie, and Randy, the dad, team ran the Baja. And
Yep.
I think they finished third, didn't they?
Second.
Second, yeah.
And RJ was not happy about that.
I'm
But he's a
sure he
racer.
wasn't.
Yeah.
He is a racer, and I'm sure Randy wasn't happy either, and because he's a racer, and you know, um, maybe someday we'll go into all those stories. But that family uh, has been a great supporter of me, and they're great kids. Randy's a great guy. Um, I love Carol, Mama Carol, to death. They're just such awesome people, and same with the Quinteros. I love them to death, and the Guthries, Mitch and Stephanie, Mitchie, um, just they left their racing stamp on my heart, you know?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And so, yeah, um, I think my heart will always be vested in those teams and those guys. And
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, it's hard not to root for him just because I know what a personal connection you have with those guys.
yeah, they really are my boys. And I'm not trying to jump on the bandwagon or anything. They've always been my boys. And, you know,
No, like you said, when
when,
they're dorky kids, like you knew them and
yeah,
you supported them and helped build their cars. I mean, that's not fake, you know?
yeah, no, it's just so rad to see all of them doing so well. I'm so very proud of them all. And, to have one tiny little tie to that is really, really, really humbling for me because they're truly great people,
Yeah.
you know. And I was really blessed, and with that is also a big shout out to Rob Muzzy for trusting me.
Yeah.
And Rob Muzzy was not only known for being incredibly gifted builder and tuner, but incredibly gifted talent scout. Like he had an eye for people to be able to do things. He discovered people that and brought them to the light and gave them equipment, um, you know, that really allowed them to shine and show what he saw in them. And like to a little smidgen of a percent, I was able to do that with these guys, and just to be able to support them. Um, I wouldn't care if they were investment bankers right now.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that they're still successful racers with huge careers and still climbing, moving forward is great, but it wouldn't matter. Um, I'm grateful to have those times that we had where I really could call them my boys, and
I,
girls, because I worked with a lot of good girls too.
and then like that was just a little tiny taste of it, but I just had a laugh because I'm watching this YouTube recap and it's like just looking at all the squares. I'm like, Lorin knows all those guys way better than even Fishgistics does, you know? And Cameron Steele, who is hosting the thing. So yeah, I had to. I hope you get to watch it. But yeah, that was. I took something out of that completely different than what they posted. You know,
I will definitely have to watch it, and Fish does a great job.
dude,
I
real
get,
real real smart kid. Yeah.
yeah, definitely a shout out. Um, way back when we used to have really good coverage. Um, UTV Underground used to do a great job of coverage for the side by side stuff back in those days on the desert stuff, and of course that's all gone away. Um, and but man, any desert race, I'm tuning in to see where my dudes are. I'm looking at Fish on Instagram. I'm like, okay, I know he's fresh. He's dude works his rear off.
Posting hourly updates, doing
Yeah,
live videos, and
yeah,
I mean, I would love to meet the dude just for the fact that we can look at the same tracking data and I can have three screens and he can do it and but he can actually figure out, okay, here's the gaps that I figured out and there's a problem over here and I'm like, we're looking at the same stuff. I don't like I know you're not kidding. It's like, but obviously you see what's going on better than maybe even Score does at the time and whatever. So
yeah, yeah. It's crazy, and I spent a lot of time watching trackers
oh yeah.
um, for years.
Now running
And
stopwatches and
yeah, yeah, and it's like watching the clock and watching trackers and looking at compared times, and there were times I was tracking Baja all night because I had six racers in Baja or whatever, and man, it's one thing to, as you said, to watch it and look at it and you can figure it all out in your head, but then to put it in a way that people can understand
Yeah.
and people look at and get short, concise, boom, boom, boom. Here's the answers to your questions, right?
Yep.
So,
And he's doing it when, sorry, but the score isn't. There's
right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. You're absolutely correct. And man, just he does an amazing job. And maybe someday we'll send him a message and say, hey, we'd love to have you on.
we know he knows how to work Zoom, so
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So anyway, yeah, man. I'm super stoked to get on with Red Bull Sand Scramble next week. If y'all are going to be out there, this episode should be up before then. Um, I'll be plan is right now, I will be posted up on Osborne as part of the security detail for uh, the Red Bull base camp. Hopefully, I will be hanging out with my buddy Super Mario.
shout out to Mario.
Yeah, dude. I hashtag limping ain't easy. Mario, we're thinking of you. We love you, and I look forward to seeing you, buddy. Um, Hopefully, his boy Andrew will be there. Young Andrew, who's a dude's a stud, man. He's just solid. He helped me so much last year. Just jumped in and super attitude. Uh, Helped his dad change the transmission on their rail, which I'm not going to go into. Somebody might have sidestepped the clutch. Um,
Oops.
yeah, so and just all over helping me, whatever he could do to help me, and super grateful for that. Of course, I get to spend a week with the general again, Mr. D Butts. Look forward to that. Always look forward to working with him. Dude's got the work ethic of a red ant, man. Just never ever quits, and so um, huge respect for that man. Um, and he's a veteran,
Most importantly.
so props, respect. Um, and he worked with Pastrana on the Evo Knievel tribute jumps. So there's that also.
That's a wild documentary.
Yeah, yeah. So when it's most obvious on the fountain jump at Caesars, um, when he makes his wheelie run and speed run and all that, and comes back and takes his cape off. Travis takes his cape off and hands it off to my man D Butts. So, and
5 minutes of fame right there.
yep,
Yep.
slaps him on the back and sends him into you know never ending glory right there. So he's worked with TP a lot, and he does a lot. Matter of fact, he helped build the straight rhythm on the beach.
Oh, yep. That was just a few weeks. Yeah, about a month
Yeah,
ago. Yep.
yeah, about a month ago. So yeah, super cool. Anyway, um, always like working with him, and should be pretty cool. And I'm looking forward to that. And we'll get a recap probably after that. I'd like to get a guest on before then, but we will work on some of that in a minute after we get off the air. And other than that, man, thank you to our partners, the Premix Podcast at the Premix Podcast on Instagram, ThePremixPodcast at the Premix Podcast, all one word. All your updates on desert racing, desert pictures, and other amusing and cool anecdotes. Did I use that right?
I don't know. Sounded
Oh,
good. I had no idea.
as
I
long
was
as it
just rolling
sounded
with
good,
it.
I don't care. That's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah. And of course, kicker.com, Kicker Performance Audio, Kicker Marine Audio, Kicker Off Road Audio for all your premium audio needs, whether it's car, truck, Jeep, motorcycle, your V twin, your off road buggy, your sandrail, your golf cart, your skateboard, personal audio, headphones, earphones, earbuds, Bluetooth speakers, even waterproof, weatherproof, damage-proof patio speakers. Kicker.com. They got it all. Hit them up. Uh, Bomber Floating Eyewear. Tommy the Bomber Bonacci, thank you so much for your support and your continued support. Thank you for making an incredible product. You can find anything you're looking for at bomber.com. No, that's not right. Bombereyewear.com.
There you go.
Bombereyewear.com. Everything from your standard aviator style, which the Viking wears frequently, to these boogie bombs in limited edition mono series, as you can see with the limited print. Well, you can't see on the podcast, but when you're watching the video, you'll be able to see. Thank you for your support. Anything you need there, safety glasses, amber glasses, amber safety glasses for shooting, whatever you need, any style, any lens, bombereyewear.com. With that, of course, thank you to the most incredible producer and co-host a man could ask for, and great friend, Cole Trickle Dickle Farrell.
Thank you for having me along for the ride.
Dude, thank you. And you have to send me that link for the fish sticks.
I will. Yeah. Just
because that really got at my heart, bro. You really got me in the feels.
Well, good. I try.
You're doing a great job, and we're grateful. Of course, thank you to Kelsey Morel Film.
Yes, absolutely.
At Kelsey Morel Film. That's KELSEYMORRELLFILM on Instagram. Give her a like and a follow. If you have some film needs, I know right now she is wrapped up doing some TV commercial stuff for Dinner Cruise Company in Portland that runs 3 different boats, and also does a Christmas light tour with a 40-foot jet boat.
It sounds like a good time.
Yeah. As long as you're in the boat, not the captain. As it turns out, the captain is her boyfriend.
Oh.
Captain Peck.
Shout out Captain Peck.
Yeah, for sure. He gets it's an open fly bridge on that boat. So I don't know if I actually want to be cruising the Columbia or the Willamette River in a 40-something foot jet boat, in a open fly bridge in the middle of winter at night.
Different strokes, different folks.
But that boat is his boat, that the company has assigned to him. And so I know he was looking forward to it, although he was not looking forward to being cold, being a Southern California and Havasu person. But I wish them the best. And I know Kelsey's working on a big TV commercial for them. So if you do need something done, you got to get a hold of her, give her a little time to get back to you. I can tell you also, she's quite busy working on editing our mess that we call Along for the Ride, and figuring stuff out. And if you end up watching this, I just sat on my cord. Anyways, all right. So yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube when we get them launched, wow, definitely give us a thumbs up and drop a comment. Way to go, Kelsonator. She's a beast when it comes to this stuff. She truly makes it look easy. Again, shout out to my family. Just had such a great time over Thanksgiving. All my friends, we're going to try and catch the Havasu Parade of Lights Saturday night.
Nice. That looks so fun.
Oh, yeah. We got a special invite for the Havasu Parade of Lights. And if that all works out, We're going to have some fun. I'll have some stories to tell there. So,
Beautiful.
all right. And with that, I think we're going to call episode 15 done. And I am your host, the Mad Dog. Thanks for coming along for the ride. Please give us a download. Check out all the episodes. We appreciate you. And I think we're about ready. My throat is saying you're done. It's time to sign off. So, Cole, what you got?
I will be out at Barstow this weekend for the Mojave Off-Road Race. I'll be out there taking photos. So if you see a white Ranger that's got all the paint falling off, you'll know that's me.
Nice. Yeah, if you're out in Barstow, catch Cole, give him a slap on the back, tell him how much you appreciate all he does for Long for the Ride and for the Premix podcast. All right, I guess that's it. All right, that's it for episode 15. Mad Dog out.
Later.